Contrarily to the verb al-fi'l, the ism can carry the tanween. It means the noun can carry a double fatha, a double dhamma, or double kasra in this last letter of the word. غلام, غلام, غلاما. Contrarily to the verb al-fi'l, the ism can carry al in the beginning of the word to transform the noun from an indefinite noun to a definite noun. الغلام, الغلام. الهر, الهر. Contrarily to the verb al-fi'l, the ism can carry a ta marbuta at the end of the word to indicate the feminine gender. لذيذة, delicious. Contrarily to the verb al-fi'l, the ism can be preceded by a preposition like ila, to. When a noun is preceded by a preposition, it carries a kasra at its last letter. ذهب إلى السوق. He went to the market. Identify the nouns in the following sentence. رجع الرجل الصالح من المسجد. الرجل is a noun because it carries al. الصالح is a noun because it also carries al. المسجد is a noun because it carries a kasra after the preposition mina, from, and also it carries al. We should look for al-fa'il, or the subject, in a jumla fi'liya, or verbal sentence. A verbal sentence is a sentence that starts with a verb, fi'l. This sentence is an example of a verbal sentence because it begins with a verb, sakana, lived. سكن العنكبوت في الشجرة. The spider lived in the tree. The subject al-fa'il should be a ism marfu', nominative noun. Ism marfu' means that this noun carries a dhamma in its last letter of its letter root. To find al-fa'il, the subject, you need to look at the noun coming after the verb that carries the dhamma in its last letter. In this example, the subject of the verb tasallaqa, or climbed, is al-waladu, the boy, because it carries a dhamma in its last letter. Any mistake in the haraka of the last letter of the nouns coming after a verb can drastically change the meaning of the sentence. In this example, the subject of the verb tasallaqa, climbed, is ash-shajaratu, or the tree, because this noun carries a dhamma in its last letter. The meaning of this sentence changes radically. The subject should carry a dhamma, but it can also carry a tanween with dhamma, double dhamma in its last letter. waladun. خرج ولد من البيت. A boy came out of the house. When the subject becomes dual, it loses the dhamma in its last letter. A suffix ani will be added to the end of the subject. The suffix ani has the same job as the dhamma. it shows us that this noun is the subject. يلعب الهر بلطف. The cat plays gently. يلعب الهران بلطف. The two cats play gently. Another example. هجم الذئب على الغنم. The wolf attacked the sheep. هجم الذئبان على الغنم. The two wolves attacked the sheep. When a masculine subject becomes plural, جمع السالم المذكر, sound masculine plural, a suffix una will be added to the end of the last letter of the subject. The suffix una shows us that this noun is the subject. جاء المسلم من المسجد. The Muslim came from the mosque. جاء المسلمون من المسجد. The Muslims came from the mosque. تصدق الصالح. The righteous person gave charity. تصدق الصالحون. The righteous people gave charity. Most Arabic verbs are 3-letter roots. In this lesson, we are going to use the verb جلس. Contrarily to the past tense, the present tense must have prefixes added to the beginning of the root. For example, the verb جلس. In present tense, we add the suffix a for the first person singular, or na for the first person plural. جلس أجلس نجلس. The first letter of the root will lose its fatha and carries all the time as sukun. جلس أجلس. The second letter of the root can carry a fatha, dhamma, or kasra. In our example, it carries kasra. جلس أجلس. The last letter of its root should carry a dhamma if the verb does not have a suffix at the end of its root. أجلس. Also, the present tense verb needs suffixes added at the end of its root to denote gender or number. For example, Annie is dual, and una is the plural masculine. تجلسان. تجلسون. First person is easier to remember because we only have two prefixes, a for the singular and na for the plural. أجلس نجلس. As you noticed, all the verbs in the second person carry the prefix ta. So ta means you. Also, there are suffixes at the end of the verb. Ina is for the feminine singular. Ani is for the dual. And una is for the masculine plural. And na is for the feminine plural. تجلس تجلسين تجلسان تجلسان. تجلسون. And lastly, تجلسن. As you noticed, almost all the third-person words carry the suffix ya. Ya stands for he or they, but the feminine singular and dual carry ta instead of ya, because the feminine and masculine verbs have the same ending. So to distinguish between the feminine and masculine, the feminine verb carries ta. Also, there are suffixes at the end of the verb. Ani for dual, una for masculine plural, and na for feminine plural. يجلس, تجلس, يجلسان, تجلسان, يجلسون, يجلسن. The present tense has many prefixes and suffixes. To remember all of them will be stressful for some students. In this video, I will share with you an easy way to remember all of them effortlessly. When I was a kid, my teacher used to write in the blackboard a verb fully conjugated in the present tense, and at the end of every school day, she asked the whole classroom to read the verb. After a few weeks, we mastered the pattern of the conjugation. So if you repeat daily, one time or more, the same verb, after a few weeks, you will learn the pattern effortlessly. أنا أعبد. نحن نعبد. أنا أعبد. نحن نعبد. أنت تعبد. أنت تعبدين. أنتما تعبدان. أنتم تعبدون. أنتن تعبدن. هو يعبد. هي تعبد. And for the masculine, هما يعبدان. For the feminine, هما تعبدان. هم يعبدون. هن يعبدن. أنا أعبد. نحن نعبد. أنا أعبد. نحن نعبد. أنت تعبد. أنت تعبدين. أنتما تعبدان. أنتم تعبدون. أنتن تعبدن. هو يعبد. هي تعبد. And for the masculine, هما يعبدان. For the feminine, هما تعبدان. هم يعبدون. هن يعبدن. أنا أعبد. نحن نعبد. أنا أعبد. نحن نعبد. أنت تعبد. أنت تعبدين. أنتما تعبدان. أنتم تعبدون. أنتن تعبدن. هو يعبد. هي تعبد. And for the masculine, هما يعبدان. For the feminine, هما تعبدان. هم يعبدون. هن يعبدن.